Well, hello, ROP. Happy Friday. Yeah, what I'm showing you right now is the remains of a barred chicken. Another ones with the feathers there on the bottom, the speckled feathers. Well, anyway, I don't know if it was a hawk or a fox or something, but something got one of my chickens. And so anyway, I'm coming out here to feed the cow and to show you a little bit about how geometry has to do with everyday life. This is a shot of the chicken house that I built, and I had no plans to begin with other than an idea of what I wanted it to look like. It's got a door in the front which hinges upward. It's a split door. It's got two doors on the side. This is so I can get eggs. And in the summer, well, I've got this door on the side, on the back, so I could make it easy to clean out. There's the inside, there's the roosting bars for the chickens. And whenever I build something, I like to put my special touches in it, makes my life easier. So I've got a heat lamp, which is the red one. Actually, I've got one that needs repaired that's down there, so I actually have two. And then I've got a regular light, and I've got the light switch that's right there on behind that wall there. And then I've got the other large flap on the side, and I put this hook on there so I don't have to hold it up. And we've got eggs here, and there's going to be some under Annie, which is that chicken there. In the summer, the chickens lay the eggs on the north side of the chicken house. In the winter, when it gets colder, they'll lay it on the south side, which is on the other side. That's why there's not any on that side. But there's going to be times when you start building things, and you're going to need to have an idea, a plan, whether you think it up or you get it off the internet or wherever on what you want to build. So you're going to have to know the dimensions of what you did. And when I put this together, I sat down and just with a pencil and paper drew it out roughly to the shape I wanted it. And then I started putting measurements together. And the measurements were going to be based on the type of materials I had. And sheetrock comes in 4-foot by 8-foot sheets. So I based it on that. It's an 8-foot square. And how tall I wanted it is based on how tall I am. I wanted it easy to get underneath it, so I made it 2 feet off the ground. And to do all of this, here's what you're going to need. You'll need basic tools: a tape measure and a hammer or a drill. You'll need a saw of some sort, and I've got this really nice worm drive saw, but you can use a hand saw, and you don't have to use screws. You can use a hammer and nails. You can make it as easy as you don't have to have a lot of fancy equipment to build anything you want to build, except for those that are necessary. And you use this framing square is what I used. Now, the framing square is important is because you have to you have slopes, and if you'll notice the slopes on the doors, the two outside doors, the slope on the roof, you have to be able to cut those, and everything is not always 90-degree angles. Now, carpenters call slope well, they call it slope, but they get it a little different way. Now this is a framing square, and you can't see the little dents here, but it shows inches. And here's 0 inches right here, and it'll go out to an inch. And this way. It also starts with 0 here and goes this way, down this way, and down this way. Now, if you want to do a slope of a 4 and 12 pitch, which is that's what carpenters describe. That's how carpenters describe slope. Then what you want is rise over run. So a 4 and 12, you're going to start down here from 4, and wherever you're starting here, that you'll make a mark. So you go up 4 and you go over 12 to right there. And 4 over 12 is 1/3 rise over run. How far it goes up, how far it goes to the horizontal. And that's how you calculate and cut your rafters. Most everything else is going to be straight cuts. But you have to have a plan, you have to have the tools, and you have to have an idea of what you're doing. Because if you don't, you end up with something that looks sort of like this. Now it won't look quite that bad. This is just a pile of lumber. But if you just start throwing things together without a plan, then you get something that to anybody else, it's going to look like this. When you're building anything, you're going to have to know how to use a tape measure. This is a 25-foot tape measure, and the way it's read, it's in inches, and that is the inch is the standard of measure of buildings in the U.S. We're not metric. So anyway, if you'll show, let me move up here to say the 6 inch. All right, right here at 6 inches, between 6 and 7, there's a big mark. That's the half. The next tallest marks are the 1/4 inch, the 1/2 inch, and the 3/4 inch. Then we have eighths, which are the next smallest mark. So there's 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. And then each one of these is a 16th. Now, the way to remember 16ths is instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know that 8/16 is a half. And so any of these is going to be 1 through 7. These are going to be 9 through 16. And the 16 over 16th is a 7 inch. But you have to know how to use your tools. So when you buy a tape measure, be sure to look at it and make sure you're familiar with it so it becomes useful to you instead of something that slows you down. There are a couple of things I want to show you that are additional to most of these tape measures. Stanley makes a real good one. But if you'll notice, every foot has an arrow on it. 1 foot, 2 foot. And there's one set of numbers along here, along the first foot. Now, starting with more than 1 foot, you've got red numbers on the top. These are if you want to, someone is asking you what the measurement is, then you're going to say, well, it's 12 inch, 2 3/4 inches. Or, the way it's commonly done, just 14 3/4 inches. That way you don't have to remember complex or mixed decimals, mixed numbers. Then the final thing I wanted to show you, notice that the 16 inch mark is red. There's no other red numbers here. The next red number is going to be 32. And the reason for that is because the studs of any building are going to be on, if it's a quality building, it's going to be every 16 inches. That's the center of each stud. And so it's easy to lay out a house or a chicken house or a barn by using just this one little instrument here. All you have to do is know a little bit of how to use it, and you can be a carpenter. Well, that's a real brief course in how to build something using what tools you have. Happy Friday. One of these days, you kids are going to be out, and I promise you, 98% of you are going to build something. Hopefully you'll remember a little bit about this. Have a great weekend and a better week next week. Talk to you later.